everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and I'm doing another Persimmon having a look at and tasting video. Now these four fruits are the remaining four fruits that are left from my Jiro or Jiro, depending on how you pronounce it. Now this is a non-astringent variety, and in doing a little bit of research on these, I did have more fruits in this. If you saw my harvesting, I picked quite a few, but I left them in a bag to try and get them to ripen, and 3 or 4 of them just rotted in the bag and turned to liquid, but they still weren't edible. Now I made a little bit of a discovery with the non-astringent varieties that I have, Jiro and Fuyu. I've discovered that they don't like being left out in the frost to get frosted. It turns out they're cold tender, the fruits, and that damages the fruits. Now you may or may not be able to see this sort of weird pasty colour on this fruit, and several of my Fuyus and Jiro were damaged by the frosts, and it turns out that's the case with quite a few of the Asian ones. Where I got the idea they like to be left out until they were frosted is that applies to the American persimmons. They tend to get bletted by, they call it bletting, when they're frosted, and that removes the astringency from the fruit when they're exposed to cold. And I'm not talking about extreme cold, I'm talking about just a degree or two of frost. But as it turns out, when I was reading up a little bit more in some sort of articles about Japanese persimmons, that in fact the frost can damage the fruits of these non-astringent ones, and they end up not ripening because of it, because the flesh gets damaged. So I think in future years I may pick them when they're a little bit underripe, and then just leave them in a fruit bowl to ripen and see what happens. But I'm going to try a couple of these anyway, just to see as they're getting soft, sort of to the point of not being edible, just to see if they're if the flesh is tainted because of the cold damage and the cold bruising that's been caused them, or if they're in any way edible. So I'll flip the camera around and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so these are a little bit, the others just turned to mush, and I was going to try and taste them, but they didn't have any flavour to them at all. So we'll just cut this open. I'm going to do this across ways, see if we can cut through it. Again, I think this is going to have seeds in it, which is one of the problems I've got with all of my supposedly, yes, this is very hard, this fruit, and I think that's a result of the cold damage actually. So I can't even cut it in half easily to show you. Let's see. Again, this has got seeds in it, sort of flat, more oval shaped seeds, but the fruit, the flesh has got a very hard, lumpy texture to it, and I think that's either a result of the cold damage to the fruit, or due to the fact they've got seeds in. I can barely get the flesh out of this one. It's not, let's try a bit of this harder flesh if I can. No, see, in my opinion, that's got a bit of fizziness to it. Now, normally, when you get fizziness to a fruit, it means it's fermenting. It's a bit fermented, and that might be due to either me leaving it in the bag too long, or quite probably due to the quite possibly it's a result of the cold damage because they got frosted. Let's cut another one up and see what this is like. I'm not going to keep them any longer anyway, so I thought I might as well try them. Again, disappointingly, no sweetness. I haven't done the tasting on them yet, but my Rojo Brillant actually look to be the most promising are the ones I've got the largest and the ones with the best colour. They smell all right, these fruits, but the flesh is just not an appetising colour. It's got a slight fizziness to it, which to my mind means fermenting. I'll try the largest one. Let you see the inside of the largest one. Kind of shame, really. If you bought that in a shop, you wouldn't waste your time eating it, and neither am I going to here. Definite slight fizziness to it. I mean, you could eat them if you were desperate, but I'm not desperate. I'm not starving. So the remains of those 4 gyros, I've eaten some of it, but the remains of those will be consigned to the bin, and then we'll have another experiment next year. I'm going to repot them all this year and put them into much larger fabric containers, because I'm kind of thinking that the roots might be a little bit restricted on some of them. Possibly the soil's gone a bit stale, and what I'm thinking I might do is, once they get repotted and I tidy them up a bit and get them growing nice and straight, if I get some fruit set on the varieties next year, I don't need dozens of persimmons because I'm not going to eat them. What I might do, I think, is thin each tree heavily, so they've only got sort of perhaps 4 or 5 fruits on them rather than sort of a dozen fruits, given the fact they're young trees. I think I might cut them back so I've got 4 or 5 fruits on them, and see if having 4 or 5 fruits on them means the tree focuses on those and I get larger, considerably larger fruits, and they develop to a better quality, and then we'll probably pick them a little bit early before the birds start attacking them, or before we get any frosts, and I'll just put them in a bag with an apple and see if they can be encouraged to ripen. So that's thoughts for next year. So that variety was Jiro, or Jiro, depending how you pronounce it. And I have got, as I said, a couple more varieties to try. The Tipos actually look a little bit more of an appetising orange when I get to that video, and the Rojo Brillante also look what I call more of a decent orange. These gyros, and I think probably my Fuyus, have gone like a mustardy green colour, and I'm pretty sure that's cold damage that has caused that, and it means they're not ripening properly and the texture's wrong. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope that video is still of some use to you. Please give me a thumbs up. Do share the video if you think anybody will be interested in that variety. Subscribe to my channel and click on the bell, of course, if you'd like to know when new videos come out. I'll catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.